If you want to become an influential person, take the people who are influential and understand what their best habits are, then you stand a chance at becoming more influential. So let's talk about the 3 best habits of highly influential people. We are all creatures of habit. And when it comes to being influential, that is not an act, it's an habit. Influential people have habits that they commit to over time to become influential. Being invisible is also a habit. If you're invisible, if you feel like people are not noticing you and not recognizing your contribution, that's also a habit. You have habits that are keeping you invisible. It's not an act, they are a series of habits. And if people are creatures of habits, it's important that you understand what your habits are that are preventing you from becoming more influential. And you seek to understand the habits of the influential, but not just to understand their habits, but to know the mindset behind it. So let's talk about the 3 best habits of influential people. Habit number 1 is that they focus more on personal growth than on performance improvement. Right. And this is a big one because in the corporate world, in business environments, there's so much that is around performance. There are performance metrics, there are performance reviews. There's so much emphasis on performance. In fact, since a very young age, you were taught about the importance of performance. But when it comes to influence, it's not about performing anymore. You don't want to be the implementer. You want to be the influencer, which has more to do with your communications, the energy in which you show up, the presence, how you connect with people, the people that are within your network. This is influence, which is very different from implementing. So then that requires that you focus more on your personal growth because the journey towards power and influence is going to be a very important personal growth journey. And highly influential people, they get it. So they focus a lot on their personal growth rather than getting better at implementing or getting better at performance. That's the first habit. The second habit of highly influential people is they are so focused on improving their influencing ability. I use the word ability because influencing individual and influencing one-to-many, it is an ability, which it means it's a skill, being able to influence. Now, influence means it's the art and the science of being able to have your audience naturally change their own perceptions and their own behaviors because of what you communicated so effectively. They naturally change it just to support your cause. If you can achieve that, then you are influential. Now notice, they naturally desire to change their own behaviors and their actions as a result of what you just communicated. Then you have influence, and that is an ability. So that is the second habit, the focus on this ability, developing the skill of influence. So that's the second habit. And the mindset behind that is because influential people recognize that influence is a skill. It is not given to you. It is not a privilege. It's not something you can just go out there and demand of somebody. It is a skill. And the skill requires time to become someone and consistent action towards developing that skill. So that is the mindset behind the second habit. The third habit of highly influential people is the focus on developing wisdom instead of accumulating knowledge. And this is important because if you desire influence, by the definition of influence I gave earlier, it's not about knowing a bunch of things. Just because you have a big knowledge base or just because you know a lot doesn't mean you can influence somebody. Because you don't influence by what you know, you influence by the depth of your understanding of what you know. So that's the mindset behind it. So influential people focus on developing wisdom. Wisdom means that they have mastered their skill set, and they've mastered it so well that it becomes second nature to them. And so therefore, when they have wisdom in their domain, they lead in that domain because they can portray confidence. And they could be consistent in taking those actions within that domain because that's their domain of mastery. So this is what influential people focus on, is developing wisdom instead of needing to be the most intelligent person in the room or needing to know a lot of things. So those are the 3 best habits of influential people. Comment below. What's your biggest takeaway from that? And let me know which habit that you're going to work on this year.